Title of this module is Individual to Compound Words. It's based on 2nd grade Common Core State Standards. A compound word is simply two or more individual words joined together to make a new word with a different meaning. The objective of this lesson is to use known individual words to predict the meaning of a compound word. This will help students in decoding multisyllabic words as text gets lengthier and more complicated. One way teachers can provide more targeted, individualized instruction is to use the gradual release of responsibility model. This starts with the teacher leading the lesson and modeling the I do it portion. Then we go into guided instruction where the teacher works with the small group of students, we do it. And finally we end on collaborative, you do it together, where the students work in partnerships. You may feel after the focused lesson and guided instructions your students are ready to move to the independent you do it alone and let them try the compound word decoding on their own. The length of this support lesson is 15 minutes and it assumes that your students will have the ability to read short sentences. Students will also need to have a strong sight word vocabulary. Materials needed include familiar mentor text sentence excerpts, compound word poster. There's a sample shown on this slide, but you can feel free to make any kind of compound word anchor chart that you feel is appropriate for your students. And it's particularly useful if you use words that are crucial to their vocabulary at that time of the lesson. Compound word cards, such as the one shown here, that can be taken together and put together and taken apart again. Markers, post-its, and chart paper. The instructional sequence begins by reading several sentences from familiar texts that have compound words. Point out the compound words and ask what they mean. Then lead a discussion on how they knew what the word meant. The teacher will explain that sometimes when we read we'll come across a compound word that we won't know. Here are some text examples. I found a pretty seashell walking on the beach. A greyhound is a dog that can run fast. Max was homesick the first time he went to camp. These words are easily broken apart and the student will be able to define with your help what each individual word means. When the words are put back together, we ask the students what they think they mean and also read the word in the sentence so the students can also apply their context clues knowledge. The teacher modeling with a tricky compound word and models how to solve for meaning, and make sure to reference the compound word anchor chart that you've created so your students will know that this is a helpful tool for their independent practice. Repeat this step if you feel it necessary. During the active engagement portion, the teacher will display two compound word cards placed together to make one word. Break cards apart to show two words. Work together to define, write the sentence using the word on chart paper. Then work again together to solve for meaning. The students may then move on to practice this in pairs. We always want to link before we do the formative assessment and then send the students off to reading workshop. As you read in your books today, I want you to look for compound words that you would like to share with our group. Think about what the word means as you read the sentences. Here's a post-it to mark your word in your book. The formative assessment portion will include giving the students a sentence with a compound word. Have them break apart the word and tell you the meaning of the individual words. Then have them put the words together and tell you the meaning of the compound word. Refer them back to the sentence to also use their context clues. Additional modifications include repeating the lesson using additional mentor text sentences. Extend partnership time for students who are not ready to work alone. And have students collect and discuss compound words and sentences from their own books. They can also model how they solved for meaning. There are several additional resources in MESA Units Grade 2, Unit 1. Readers use all they know to figure out a tricky word, and readers can find parts of the word to help them figure out. Florida Center for Reading Research has an excellent section on compound words with many follow-up activities. There are also compound word games and soft schools for an internet-based practice or extension. The anchor standard that this lesson focused on is use knowledge of the meaning of individual words to predict the meaning of compound words.